Tyreke Evans was once seen as a sure thing NBA star. He won Rookie of the Year over Steph Curry in 2010, whilst averaging over 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. Fans and pundits around the league saw the incredibly athletic wing with an amazing handle and ability to get the basket as a surefire star for Sacramento for years to come. But things wouldn't go Tyreke's way, as the NBA adjusted to place an emphasis on three-point shooting and moved away from slashing wings that couldn't shoot like Evans. And both Sacramento and New Orleans refused to play him in his true position as a point guard after his rookie year. He then succumbed to injuries in New Orleans, and many thought his time as a serious piece on a good team was over. But this season has seen Tyreke flourish off of the bench for the Memphis Grizzlies, who are also shocking the NBA with their performance. This video will cover Tyreke's whole career, from college to Rookie of the Year, to the injury-ridden years in New Orleans, and then to his current season and his 6th Man of the Year campaign, as well as touching on how the Memphis Grizzlies are exceeding expectations for yet another season. Tyreke Evans grew up in the rough neighborhood of Chester, Pennsylvania, and was protected by his 3 older brothers who saw the potential in their tall youngest brother, and dubbed themselves Team Tyreke. The 3 brothers swore to do everything to allow Tyreke to grow to his full potential and live out his dream in the NBA. Tyreke's brothers were much older and supervised him taking between 1,200 and 1,500 shots in the gym every single morning, as well as ensuring he had access to his own trainer, chiropractor, and even barber, so that the youngest Evans could bring his best in every game. Evans would attend the American Christian Academy, and in his senior year he would put up one of the more absurd high school stat lines, averaging 32.1 points, 8 rebounds, 5.7 assists, and 4.3 steals a game. Tyreke was filling the stat sheet up with his absurd athleticism, speed, ball handling for a 6'6" guard, and his will to play as hard as he could every single night. As a result of his phenomenal play, Evans was ranked as the number 3 point guard nationally and the number 6 player overall. He would be recruited by John Calipari, the now coach of Kentucky, to Memphis, where Calipari coached in the 2000s. Evans would initially struggle for Memphis as he was asked to play the shooting guard, despite playing point guard his entire career and it being his natural position. This would not only be a problem for Evans in college, but in the NBA as well, as I've already mentioned, as Sacramento moved him from point guard after his rookie season. The adjustment would be tough for Evans in college, and Calipari eventually recognized this and moved Evans to point guard and gave him the reins of the team. Evans would respond and average 17.1 points, 5.4 rebounds, 3.9 assists, and 2.4 steals a game in his college career. And Memphis would not lose a game after he was made point guard until their eventual loss in the NCAA tournament. Following this loss and a fantastic college season, Tyreke would declare for the draft and was taken 4th by the Sacramento Kings after Blake Griffin, Hasheem Thabeet, and James Harden. Evans would go on to have one of the most historic rookie seasons in the NBA, as he joined Oscar Robertson, Michael Jordan, and LeBron James as one of only 4 rookies to average 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game in his rookie season. Not only did he achieve this statistical feat, but he had many dazzling moments in his rookie campaign, including leading the Kings to one of the greatest comebacks of all time against the Chicago Bulls. Trailing by 35 points, Evans put the team on his back and slashed his way to the victory, including outscoring the Bulls by himself in the 4th quarter. The combination of stuff in the stat sheet, an aesthetic way of playing the game, and the incredibly memorable moments in his NBA rookie season led many to believe that Tyreke was as close to a guaranteed future star as you could get. But if you took a close look at his shooting ability and the beginning of the trend for the NBA to transition towards three-point shooting, question marks probably should have been raised about Evans, but they weren't, and expectations shot up for Tyreke Evans and the Sacramento Kings after his rookie season. And Evans would never live up to the great expectations, as he failed to ever reach his averages in his rookie season again. He would still play well over his next 3 years in Sacramento, but also struggled with recurring injuries in his last 2 seasons, and as a result of this decline in play, Sacramento wouldn't match the offer of 4 years and $43 million from New Orleans and organised a sign-in trade to get him to New Orleans. Part of this is to blame on the Kings. He played point guard as a rookie and dominated, but after this season the Kings tried to move him to the 2-guard and the small forward position. Who knows what would have happened had the Kings simply let him continue to play in his true position as a tall and long point guard. He might have been an all-star, and Cousins and Evans may have been a dynamic duo for many years. Tyreke initially came off of the bench when he moved to New Orleans, and seriously struggled in the role as he wasn't getting the ball in his hands as much as he was used to for his entire basketball career up till that point. but he would finally be inserted into the starting lineup to begin the March run of the season, and would respond and have the best stretch of his games since his rookie year, averaging 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists on 50% shooting in 23 games. Pelicans fans were ecstatic that their free agent signing hadn't been a flop, and had high hopes for the next year, and Evans would help the Pels to make the playoffs for the first time since the Chris Paul era in the next season. But after the playoffs in his second year, Evans would again be riddled with injuries, miss games, and his numbers would drop again from the end of his first season. It was an incredibly frustrating time for New Orleans fans, as the core of Holiday, Eric Gordon, Tyreke Evans, Ryan Anderson, and Anthony Davis looked good on paper, but injuries and inconsistent play couldn't get them to the playoffs for the next 2 years. Evans would eventually be included in the trade with Sacramento for DeMarcus Cousins. He was clearly a throw-in for salary purposes, and the Kings never intended to keep him beyond the last few games of the season. Evans would enter the unrestricted free agency as an undervalued and undesired player, a guy who couldn't shoot threes, was injury-prone, and inconsistent. But Evans was well aware of his reputation and had been working hard on his jump shot for the past 2 years, attempting to adjust to the modern NBA and secure his place in the league for the long term. And in fact, in 2015-2016 season, he'd actually shot 38.8% from 3 in the 25 games he played. Evans believes the injuries prevented him from maintaining this good percentage in the next season, as they didn't allow him to get in a good rhythm by playing multiple games in a row. This offseason, Evans said he locked himself in the gym with his trainer, ate right, and focused on getting his body in perfect condition to play a full season of NBA basketball, as well as working on putting up as many three-pointers in the gym as possible. The Memphis Grizzlies were on the retool this year, after the Zach Randolph and Tony Allen era were over, and looked to retool to a deeper lineup that focused around playing 4 players on the perimeter to surround Gasol. But they had limited cap space to do so, with Chandler Parsons, Marc Gasol, and Mike Conley all on big contracts. So they did what a good front office does, and took a few flyers on talented players that had become undervalued for different reasons. They picked up Ben McLemore, Mario Chalmers, and Tyreke himself, giving Evans a 1-year, $3.3 million deal. Mario and Tyreke have formed a part of a bench unit with Chandler Parsons, Brandon Wright, and a variety of other players. This bench mob has been playing exceptionally well together, as Mario, Evans, and Parsons can all handle the ball and create plays, and Wright is fantastic at catching lobs and finishing around the rim if teams sag off him. And Tyreke is the absolute centerpiece of this bench unit, and is perhaps the third best Grizzly behind Conley and Gasol. He's averaging an insane 18.4 points, 4.9 rebounds, 3.1 assists per game on 52.3% shooting, and an incredible 44.8% three-point shooting, whilst making 2 threes a game. His players pulled the Grizzlies back into many games, and he had 20 points off the bench in close wins against the Clippers and Portland. He also scored 32 points and almost single-handedly willed the Grizzlies to a win over the Magic when they went down by 3 points in the end. This was Tyreke at his best, slashing and driving and trying to will his team to the victory. It has only been 14 games, but Evans has looked incredibly like his Rookie of the Year self. Fast, aggressive, with incredible instincts and ability to finish at the rim. He's also distributing the ball well in both the second units and the starting lineup when he gets time with them. Evans will make a serious push for Sixth Man of the Year, and is clearly the leader right now for the award as we go forward for the season. His three-point shooting percentage will likely regress a little bit, as his career average three-point percentage was 29.5% before this season. But even if he can shoot around 36% this season, he'll have proven that he can make three-pointers at a respectable rate in the NBA, and that makes Tyreke a much more valuable player for a good team. He can stand on the perimeter when he doesn't have the ball, and teams won't be able to sag off of him without Evans punishing them from deep. Plus, if teams have to close out faster on Evans, it allows him to use his incredibly quick first step to blow past them and get into the paint to collapse the defense and cause havoc and create a layup or a pass out to his teammate. Because of the strong play of Tyreke, combined with Marc Gasol and Mike Conley, the Grizzlies are in hot pursuit of a playoff spot. And this would be great for Tyreke, as it would propel him onto the national stage once again and allow him to remind the NBA of the talents he was once applauded for. I think they have a great shot at making the playoffs. With injuries affecting Utah and the Clippers, the West might have just become a little bit easier for them to make it this year. And if they do, I cannot wait to see what a healthy Tyreke with a three-point shot can do on the bigger stage. And if he does continue to perform, teams will be calling Tyreke's number this offseason, I see Tyreke as a great option for a backup point guard that can give your team a unique bench option that most teams can't contain with other bench players. Plus, he is more than capable of starting for stretches and taking over if a point guard gets injured, and is also capable of playing some 2 and 3 in limited minutes. I could see Charlotte, San Antonio, Utah, or the New York Knicks trying to sign Tyreke this offseason as they lack point guard and wing depth, and Tyreke could help solve both problems. So I hope that Tyreke and the Grizzlies keep this up and make a deep push in the playoffs, and that Tyreke finds a long-term home somewhere in the NBA this offseason, because who doesn't love a Cinderella story? Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA videos in the future, and leave a comment below on what you think of Tyreke Evans, if this is sustainable, and the Memphis Grizzlies overall.